Welcome back, you filthy exiles, to the last episode of this season of community builds of the week for Path of Exile 2 0.3. So obviously we've got the 3.27 league coming out very soon, and for Path of Exile 1 that is. And anyway, so yeah, we've got 5 more builds that were sent to me via creators, and all pretty good ones. And yeah, if you want to try them, if you're still playing Path of Exile 2, even with the PoE 1 launch, then definitely give them a whack. But otherwise, I'll also be doing a build series, the usual build series for Path of Exile 1 as well for League starters. And I've got a League starter plan currently for that too. Anyway, as always, if you're a creator featured on this list and you want a post edit done or something like that, just get in contact with me directly on Discord. And without further ado, welcome back to 5 more community builds for the 0.3 Path of Exile 2 League. Okay, so the first build that we've got on the list today is from Reggio Corlina, and this is what he's calling the /Cleave, I guess, Spear Warrior. Now, this uses a combination of Primal Strikes and Rake to basically do tons of damage. Now, it does stack a few really interesting things in this setup, which I noticed. Number one, pretty much he does a lot of front load elemental damage. He does actually stack elemental damage into Rake, and predominantly Rake he uses for clear within the build, which is really cool. And part of this is also the mobility that you get from Rake. Obviously, when you click the enemy, you then move towards them. So there's almost like, you know, a pursuit skill. And then when he goes into actually taking down big bosses, then he stacks a ton of damage using Primal Strikes. And this is basically the methodology behind the build. Now, as an overall, obviously, you know, there is a bit of a, you do notice in the footage, a bit of a mana bleed issue, but for the most, that's addressed a lot through the build. The build is actually really cool. I actually really like the fact that Primal Strikes has that really cool elemental spirit effect at the very end of it. Now, this build does use constricting command, and obviously because there's just too many advantages with that helm at this stage, and that obviously pops the damage really well with this. He does also use the Coming Calamity as well, so it's a triple Herald stacker, which is really cool. And I haven't seen too many of those this league. It's definitely been a little less common. Then he has things like Schoenberg's Pillar in the build, which again, really cool setup. But as an overall, it's really going to be determined by having a pretty good spear at this stage. Attack speed, onslaught, obviously extra damage and gem level at the end of the day. And the more damage you can stack on this, the better off you're going to be with this build as an overall. Overall, really creative build, very like basic implementation, and I really like that about different builds like this in Path of Exile 2. But definitely one worth checking out. Make sure you stop by his channel, drop him a like and a sub. And if you've got questions about his build, then I'm sure he's more than happy to answer any questions you've got. But yeah, this is a pretty cool one. And he is 100% right. It does 100% look like Cleave out of Path of Exile 1. Okay, so the second build we're going to feature on this list is from Inner Blaze. And this is the Bleed Hammer of the Gods Titan. Now, the thing that I really like about this setup is, number one, it does not rely on Constricting Command. Now, obviously, Constricting Command is a really good item, but it doesn't need it. Now, the other big thing is it does also use Venopuncture. Now, the interesting thing about Venopuncture is it also allows for Bleed to contribute to chill magnitude, which means that simultaneously you can actually chill enemies, which is pretty damn useful. Now, the other big thing is he does have a Herald of Blood configuration with a Bursting Plague and Bleed loop, which is pretty much how he's going to get a ton of clear speed using things like Bone Shatter and whatnot within the build. And the big one here is he stacks an absolute metric ton of armor, as well as conversion to armor applies to elemental damage at the end of the day, which is giving him a massive amount of survivability within the build. Again, a really good defensive layout as an overall. Now, the sort of DPS that he gets within the poe.2.db page is about 3 million DPS with Hammer of the Gods, and that's obviously damage over time as well, which is pretty useful for taking out bosses. Obviously, you can see that in the B-roll on screen as well. Overall, really, really, really well put together build. Obviously, very tanky, very strong. And these sort of configurations also are excellent at league start, from a league start scenario or an SSF scenario, because at the end of the day, really, it's just reliant on being able to scale a really, really strong two-handed mace at the end of the day. And then you're really just looking for the best rares or to craft the best rares that you possibly can to get the most out of the build. Overall, very well put together build and tons of information. Now, from what I've also seen, he's got a Mobalytics link, with leveling guide, amulet crafting guide, and everything else that you'll need, including endgame mace crafting guide. But yeah, make sure you stop by his channel and check out the video. And yeah, it's just got a lot of information about this build. You could really use this to apply to many other different melee configuration setups as well, which is pretty useful. So you could actually take this and apply this to a number of other different things at the end of the day. Anyway, that'd be build number 2 that I'm going to feature here. Okay, so the next build is from Adventurous Gaming. Now, I gotta say, this is probably one of the best edited build guide videos I've seen in quite some time. It actually puts me to task on my build guides because it's really well done. Anyway, so basically what he's doing is he is using literally Firebolt. And to be honest with you, this actually made me want to play a Gallad Staff build again because it's a skill that's just built into the item, right? So the biggest challenge here is to get a 6 link, you need to get to a level 90 stave from what I can see in his guide. And that's really the only major limitation. Now, obviously with Bloodmage as well, there's tons of crit scaling and he talks about that. And the big thing here is that lineage gem, which is the Sion's gem, that one always drops Sion's temper. It drops pretty much all the time throughout, you know, playing endgame. Well, you're actually going to use it in this build, which is really, really good. Now, the other big thing here is it had me at Trample Toes because it also uses Trample Toes, which is another pretty significant item for massive levels of clear all throughout the game. Now, as an overall, this build, you know, it's quite cheap to set up and uses things like Fire Flower, which obviously gives you a lot of plus level. It really is predicated on getting a lot of plus level to your skill gems at the end of the day. Noting that his staff is absolutely mental as well, so just bear that in mind. But yeah, it does take into account things like Deodre's tenure, which I haven't actually seen used in a build until this one, which is really cool. And then basically, you know, Crown of the Victor as well, which is a really, really low level item, but +1 all skill gems is pretty useful at the end of the day. Yeah, as an overall, like, it's just quite a really consistent build. It just uses basically maximum amount of gem level stacking and just tons and tons of crit. And obviously the overkill damage that you get from running the Trample Toes. And yeah, you just do tons of ridiculous amounts of damage, a little bit of Frost Bomb here or there. Obviously, it's got Blasphemy as well, and he's running Elemental Weakness throughout. But as an overall, it's a very, very, very easy sort of configuration put together and very cheap. And I could actually see this working with a Gallad Staff configuration very similarly and just converting from fire to ice at the end of the day. But overall, really creative build, really well put together guide, and it's nice to see just some real basic concepts that are coming into play here, and some of the most creative builds that I've seen yet, sort of things like this. But anyway, this would be build number 3 that I'll feature, and make sure you stop by Adventurous Gaming channel as well, and drop them a like and a sub. Okay, so the next one is from Ichigo, and not the anime Ichigo, the Path of Exile 2 player Ichigo. But anyway, so this is an Edict Contagion Lich. Now, the big advantage here is obviously Lich does a ton of chaos damage at the end of the day, but Edict Contagion is just one of those builds that is just super, super strong. Pretty much the fundamental way that this works is you're going to drop your Essence Drain, and then you're going to then tap Contagion on your enemy. Could do it vice versa. Pretty much the first enemy that dies, then the Contagion will take that through to the next few enemies, so on and so on, and you will end up doing an absolute metric ton of damage. Obviously, this one runs a ton of ES as well, which is our main defensive layer in this configuration. Now, the overall guide that Ichigo's provided, he's got a Mobalytics link, and just an absolute ton of information around how to actually approach this build, which is really, really good. Now, obviously, there's a ton of like ED contagion builds going on out there, but this one is actually pretty consistent. So it runs through pretty much everything that you need to know about build classes, mechanics, socketables, lineage support, gem links, spirit cost breakdowns, and everything else in great detail. But yeah, overall, really cool build, really cool and well edited video as well, and entertaining to watch as an overall. And obviously there's a Mobalytics link there, so you know, if you need further information, all the resources are there that you could possibly need to get this build up and running. But this would be number 4 that I'll feature on the on this list. And make sure you stop by Ichigo's channel and drop him a like and a sub as well. Okay, so the next build we've got, and the final one for this list, is from Slayer D, and this is the Stampede and Sunder Titan. Now, the reason why I really like this build is, number 1, it's super fast, and Also, Stampede is a bit clunky, but what they've sort of done is found out how to get this actually working. So, from what I can see, basically from this, is there is a lot of skill speed ramping as a result, and that's pretty much attributing to a ridiculous amount of clear speed and attack speed with Stampede, which sort of fixes the skill to a fairly high degree, which is basically why this build does absolutely stupid amounts of damage. And as an overall, I'm all here for it. I think this is actually fantastic. So basically, this build does use Ancestral Empowerment. So it does mean that every Steam skill is ancestrally boosted. But then beyond that, obviously, we do have Constricting Command in the configuration and set up a ton of movement speed and a ton of attack speed at the end of the day. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Big hammers, a bit of defense, not too much, but enough to basically just do face peeling amounts of damage. Now, the big thing here is you could actually probably turn around and change Constricting Command out of this build, and it's still going to do an absolute ton of damage, but that's something that you'd have to play around with. Now, there is the Armor Explode Herald of Ice configuration set up in this build, so obviously that's doing a ton of damage, and with the inclusion of Aruk Smelting as well in the configuration. And then Herald of Thunder, they're also using as well. But yeah, funnily enough, like we've even got like Bleed 4 in the configuration, Wind Dancer, and then obviously Stampede with Defy 2 means that there's no mana cost for skills, which is why you can see the mana hit absolutely nothing and still be fine. Now there is a Rackyarder's Flow in this setup, and you could probably switch that out if you want to make the build just a little bit cheaper. He would lose a bit of damage, but at the end of the day, it will actually, usually in those cases, like 50% damage because of the inverted elemental resistances, but at the end of the day, it'll still be a very functional build. Overall, really, really cool build. Obviously, they've got a POB that's provided in the links in the description. There's not too much commentary on the build, so if I had any feedback for your Slayer, voice overlays would be really good for explanations, but the video is pretty succinct and straight to the point, which is what I really like. It just shows everything that you need to know and nothing more, nothing less. And quite often mean and lean is the way to go. But yeah, overall, really cool build. Check out Slayer D's channel and make sure you drop a like and a sub to the video. And yeah, this would be the last build that I'll feature in this curation. Okay, and this is the final curation, I guess, or community builds list that we're going to do for the, I guess, Season 2, or the 0.3 patch for Path of Exile 2. Now, we're going to be moving into a bit of PoE1 content mode for the next probably month or so, but I'll still try and cover off on PoE2 news as it comes out. Obviously, we go with the content cycle with Path of Exile at this stage, so I'm really keen for 3.27. Some of the things that I have coming up is League Starter Guide for the Zerka, for in particular Earthshatter Zerka, that you guys would have seen on stream over the last few nights. So I'm going to clean that POB up tonight and tomorrow night and get that up and running into a full build guide. Now that's going to be pre-patch note for League Start testing, but obviously I may still wait until the patch notes day to release that one, so I haven't decided that yet. Outside of that, we're going to be doing a Slayer run through with the same configuration to see if Slayer's worth your time and investment. And obviously it'll be a little bit tankier with a lot more Leech. That's also an option, and I'm sort of stuck between which one I want to play. Chieftain's also an option too, by the way. And Jug's a little less damage, a lot of defense. Outside of that, we have a ton of other videos coming out for Atlas guides, Delve, League Start guides going to be coming out, and obviously the build list on patch notes day. And then we'll be doing a patch notes run through for 3.27 for Path of Exile 1 at the end of the week. And there is a lore series that I'm putting together as well for Path of Exile as an overall, the whole universe of Path of Exile. It's still in production, and I'm just writing the scripts and the theme and the way I'm going to approach it. And but that'll be coming down the pipeline as well in due course. That's going to be a lot more edited. Anyway, if you like this video, don't forget to like and sub. Now, if you're a creator and you don't want your video featured here for any reason, just reach out to me directly and let me know. And also for anyone else that's looking at this video, make sure you drop by the creators' channels, drop them a like, drop them a sub. And if you've got questions, just hit them up in their comments, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer or provide responses to any queries you might have about their builds. But anyway, until the 3.27 league or on stream, I will see you guys in the next video.